Welcome to Why Invest Wednesday. Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty here. Today I want to dive into why real estate is still the number one investment. I know there's a lot of shiny things out there with crypto and the metaverse and buying land and things in the metaverse right now. We're going to dive right into good old real estate and talk about why it is still the number one investment, in my opinion, and in a lot of opinions of other people that I've helped buy real estate here. So thanks for tuning in. Hey everybody, Jeremy Kane here. If you're here for the first time, please smash that like button, comment. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Forever grateful for all of the follows and shares, and stay up to date by clicking that bell, and we'll drop videos for you every week about real estate investing, and so on. So today the topic is why real estate is still the number one investment out there. So the first one is the only investment, in my opinion, that provides a basic need, obviously directly. Indirectly, you obviously have money and stock markets and things like that. You can buy things for your basic need. But if you invest in real estate, you get to use the real estate itself as a shelter, if there's a building on the property, obviously, and it's a direct investment. So that's number one, is absolutely real estate provides shelter. No other investment does that. You can't live in your stock options. You can't live in your bonds or your savings bonds or anything like that, money markets. And definitely you can't live in the metaverse. So that's number one. And obviously that's the easy one. So diving right in, real estate is finite. They're not making land anymore. So we can't continue to develop it. There's no more. The land that we have is the land we have. So crypto is the next kind of up and coming thing. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know anything about crypto. If you want to know about crypto, I got some people to talk to. The Bautista twins out in Seattle might have some words for you, but that's not my gig. I do know that crypto is infinite, right? We can continue to build every time I get a new, Bitcoin or, new something that's going on in crypto. I absolutely do not understand crypto whatsoever. So that's the first thing. Next thing, the metaverse. Obviously, it's just kind of beginning in the minds of most of us, kind of a new idea that Facebook kind of brought out. But it's obviously the wave of the future. You got the VR goggles everywhere, and think people walking around doing weird stuff in rooms and things like that. But absolutely, as that develops, I think there's going to be different metaverses and different universes, and that's going to be an infinite possibility. So absolutely, real estate is a finite. The opportunity is not always going to be there. Once you build something or someone owns it, that's kind of what it is, unless you spend a lot of money to knock it down and so on. Next, I want to talk a little bit about my real estate investment journey and why this is so a passion of mine, and why I'm in real estate is actually because I want to help other people develop real estate holdings and invest through real estate. So let's take it way back to 2003. I was a sophomore in college, actually a freshman in college, when my dad decided he wanted to help me purchase my first home. I lived in that home. My dad was a realtor, so he absolutely had the ability to help with the property with his commission and so on. It was also back in the day when sellers could finance the down payment and paid for closing costs, which they still can. So we got into that house for relatively zero out of pocket. So I lived in that home as an investment. I rented the rooms to my friends and other people that I met along the way. So that was my very first investment. It was hard. Definitely not something I would recommend. Managing your best friends and things like that is, in a business sense, it was difficult. There was hard times. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of responsibility, what kind of falls on landlords and things like that. So after I graduated from CSU, I held on to that house, thankfully. We did try and sell it, didn't sell for what we wanted it to sell for, so we held on to it, and I became a non-occupant landlord. So through the years, I rented it out, did work. At first, honestly, the group that I was with was probably the worst tenant. So we rented the property out to somebody who was very handy, gave them a deal. They actually did a ton of work and fixed up the property. So that was awesome. After that, we continued with the tenants. My dad said, you know what, like, you're managing it, it's yours, which is a great gift, obviously, but his his point of view was that he didn't put a lot of money into it. So that was now my investment. So I refinanced that home. I actually, had it in my name, continued to rent it out for a few more years. And then came a time where I knew that I wanted to be a real estate investor. So I had a decent amount of equity built up. So I did a cash out refinance, took about $100,000 out of my equity of that home. And then I moved on to purchase my second rental property. And so once I did that, I still, if you can imagine, we are $0 in the investment space. Rewind a little bit, my wonderful girlfriend, now wife, was able to finance our primary residence. We moved from Fort Collins to Denver. We rented a few places. 3 years after I graduated, we decided to buy a home. So we did that, and we'd used an FHA loan. We bought a home for $120,000 in Englewood, Colorado. It was 920 square feet. That cost us $4,200 out of pocket. So at that time, we had the investment property in Fort Collins and the property in Englewood as a primary residence. So we were covering the mortgage with our rent there, and obviously had a fairly low mortgage on a $120,000 home in Englewood. Then I did the refinance on the investment property. I purchased my second investment property. By the time our first mortgage payment was there, we rented it out for, I think, about $200, $300 more than the mortgage at that time. So then we continued to have those two rental properties. We updated our personal residence. Obviously, that money that we put forward is not accounted for out of pocket, but now we have a total of 3 houses for $4,200 technically out of our own pocket in the primary residence. So fast forward a couple more years, we had some trouble with some tenants in Fort Collins. I did a cash out HELOC on that home. I updated it. Basically, it was a flip at that point. So we took it from a very rough condition to almost brand new design and all that stuff. We decided that Fort Collins was a little bit too far away. So we sold that property and did a 1031 exchange. It just so happened I had found a duplex that I basically took all of the funds from the Fort Collins property and put them into the duplex. So now I have a single family home that I'm renting out in Thornton. I now have a duplex that I'm renting out in Golden. And as far as we're concerned, we are still in a primary residence. So then we decided to sell our primary residence and move up. And the equity within that home, we sold it for $283,000. We were able to put 20% down on a $455,000 home, which is now our primary home that we continue to live in. So still we're at $4,200. We're in kind of our forever home. We can raise our kids and have enough space there. We have a duplex and a single family. Then we decide, okay, well, this is working out pretty good. We're making a little cash flow on both of our investment properties, 3 doors total at this point. And we decide to cash out refinance our primary residence. Now, our monthly payment only goes up $100 to $200 a month to take approximately $100,000 out of our primary residence. Now, we are taking our primary residence money and we put it into a second duplex. So now we have 5 doors. Technically, we have only used $4,200 of our own cash. Fast forward a couple months, we're like, okay, well, let's do this. This long-term thing's working out. We have 2 duplexes and a single family as an investment property. We're cash flowing a good amount of money. And so then we fast forward to a vacation rental. So we decide to utilize some of our savings. And we also decide to partner with my brother and sister-in-law in the purchase of a vacation rental in Grand Lake, which is a property that we can actually go to and enjoy, but also rent out on the short-term basis and still cover the mortgage. So now we're technically $70,000 out of pocket, and we have 7 doors. 1 we live in as a primary residence, the other 6 are income producing doors. So essentially from $70,000, we have that amount of money. The rentals cash flow approximately, $4,000 a month, and we are looking good. So that is my personal story and a great demonstration of how you can leverage other people's money as far as that goes and make a good living in real estate. So let's talk a little bit about leverage. Basically, your equity grows on the percentage that the property appreciates. But in the stock market, if you put $15,000 into the stock market, it goes up 20%. we're at $3,000 profit. So if I put $15,000 into the stock market, it goes up 20% because I made all the right decisions and, got lucky and so on. Then I have $18,000 total. I start out with $15,000. Okay. If I put $15,000 into a home, I can buy a $500,000 home with $15,000 down with a 3% conventional loan. And so if I do that, then say the property appreciates 20%, which has happened, and Denver finished really close to 20% in this last year. Over a year's time, my home is now worth $100,000 more if it appreciated at that 20%. So then I turn $15,000 into $115,000. So to me, that makes a lot more sense than the stock market, a gain of $3,000. And I get it, crypto and the metaverse and all that stuff. Maybe I just don't understand, but absolutely real estate is always an investment. It's a key need. It's a keystone investment. Typically the largest purchase anyone makes in their entire life is a home. And that's exactly why real estate is the number one investment moving forward. As always, if you know something about crypto, let me know. But as far as real estate, I'm a true believer. It's what I do for a living, obviously, and it's been very, very good to me. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great evening. If you have questions about investing in real estate, if you have questions about how to jump into that first property, I would love to educate you on how I did it. Obviously, the prices and things are a little bit different nowadays, 20 years later, but I would love to build a plan for you, and you can absolutely make it happen with very little out of pocket. You just got to start somewhere. And once you get in, whether you want to be a real estate investor for the long term, or you want to just kind of, build your investment portfolio around your primary residence, which is perfectly okay, you can definitely start small and get into your dream home in 10 to 15 years using the power of real estate and the investment in real estate. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.